It's time for the Saturday Sports Show on WMIX. On your radio at AM 940 and online at mywithersradio.com. Recognized by the Illinois Broadcasters Association as one of the premier radio feature programs in the state. You're about to roam the region with more guests and content courtesy of Crossroads Community Hospital. Live from the Powerhouse, the Saturday Sports Show starts now.
Welcome into WMIX Studios this morning, the final weekend of January, as we roll into the final sections of the basketball season. Denny Zerwinski here to host the next just under 2 hours of show here on the Saturday Sports Show. Chris Hugo, Mike Richardson, Jeff Crow, all on assignment. It's me only holding down the fort with Reese Barnfield, pushing buttons, getting me on and off the air here on a Saturday morning on what is the final weekend of January. Hard to believe that the month of January is already gone, basically almost, up until next Thursday. And then, of course, the first weekend of February will be next week as we roll into the final leg of the high school basketball season as things start winding down. All the girls' seedings, pairings, dates, and times have been set for postseason action. We wait this week as 1A, 2A boys will come out. And then, of course, next weekend, the second weekend of February, it'll be time for the 3A, 4A boys' seedings, pairings, dates, and times to come out as well. It is a busy Saturday sports show this morning. Several guests on the show. And, again, we're bouncing around and helping people out. It is a busy Saturday morning. The midwinter tournaments are done, but this is the time of year, the next couple of weeks, there are a lot of shootouts. You have IHSA competitive dance, cheerleading, and the state bowling tournament going on. You also have, like I said, big shootout day. Conference tournaments are wrapping up around the area in a couple of places. You know, you got regular season games going on. It is a very, very, very busy Saturday morning for people involved in IHSA high school athletic activities. So with that, we remind you that we always have guests on, and we try to get a bunch of people, but we always try to accommodate people with what they're doing. We know that we are not the main reason that we are here for them, that they're here for us. We are here for them to try to help them promote what they're doing, but also we understand that they have busy schedules as well. So the guest list today, as of now, and we're working on it, and we're trying to craft it as we go. First out of the gate, as usual, will be the head coach of the Mount Vernon Rams, Scott Gamber, as the Rams come off a loss at Centralia last night. Then, of course, we'll have Jeff Lonnon on. His Lady Rams clinched at least a share of the South 7 Conference Championship on Thursday night with a big road win at Altoff. And, of course, the Lady Rams will play this afternoon against Mattoon at home in an afternoon affair at Shagnon Gymnasium. Going on this time of year, junior high basketball is starting to wind down. The girls' state tournaments are going on. Boys' state tournaments will start around next weekend. And we will have the executive director of the IHSA, say that 3 times fast, of course, Greg Hale will join us. He'll talk about the basketball tournaments at Renlake College, the thrill of getting to the setup, how things work in the junior high ranks as far as setting up seeds, pairings, dates, times, officials, and tournaments for the junior high compared to what the high school is. And in close to the 9 o'clock hour, we're going to have Bob Bowser on. He is the voice of Mount Carmel High School athletics on our sister station, WYNG 94.9 FM in Mount Carmel. He has the opportunity, along with Jason White, to call Mount Carmel athletics. Mount Carmel football, of course, everybody knows about. They also get to do a lot of Mount Carmel boys basketball games. And, of course, the now famous, in her junior year, Tyra Buss, going to the University of Indiana. They also get to call her basketball games as well. Of course, she just rolled over 3,000 points in her junior year just a couple weeks ago. We're going to have him on to talk about Mount Carmel athletics, Mount Carmel basketball, Tyra Buss, what she's been like, how she is on the floor, and what to look forward from that Mount Carmel girls team with Tyra Buss all along. More towards the top of the hour, the second hour, we're going to have IHSA basketball officiating clinician Aaron Wright will join us. And it's that time of year where things have gone on. Everybody's seen a ton of games. We've broadcasted a whole ton of games, close and they're going past 100. We have seen so many calls, so many things. And we want to talk about the life and role and jobs and rules of officials in Southern Illinois. It's a no-win situation. It's a very tough job. It's a lot of hours, a lot of miles, of course, a lot of games, sometimes multiple games in one day. So we're going to have Aaron Wright on. He is an IHSA basketball officiating clinician, and he will be on the air to help talk to us and answer questions that we or I may have or whatever. Also today, as I mentioned, is a huge shootout today. It's a big shootout day. A lot of schools, a lot of teams will have big shootouts this afternoon around the area, and one of those is going to be at Pinckneyville High School and Pinckneyville in general, as there is a ton of games today. One of the things that the Pinckneyville shootout does is the fact that they also make sure to get teams in and get games as far as JV, as far as girls go, as far as whatever the case may be. A whole slew of games. They're going to have it, of course, at Duster Thomas Gymnasium. Everybody knows where that's at and all the history behind that gymnasium. With the new schools and new auxiliary gymnasium, they are also going to have games in the auxiliary gymnasium, whether it's boys, girls, or JV. And then they also, at St. Bruno's grade school in Pinckneyville, they're going to have JV games going on as well. So that way people don't lose and teams don't lose a game by playing in a shootout. This allows JV teams to go over and play each other. So when you look at the fact there's 5 JV games going on, the auxiliary gym has 6 games going on, and Thomas Gymnasium has about 8 games going on in the new revised schedule. So, I mean, it is a big-time deal of basketball. It all starts early and often at Pinckneyville High School today all day. You can get out there starting around 8:30, 9 o'clock and see all the games that you want to see at Pinckneyville High School. And because of that, we're going to have Athletic Director Todd Rushing of Pinckneyville High School on to talk with us about the shootout and about all the games and all the setup and involved in having to set up a shootout like this. And games are going to run in Thomas Gymnasium Day starting at 11, and the last game tips off at 9:30. The auxiliary gym will tip off at 9 and run till last game's at 6:30. So as you can see, it's a very big shootout. Lots of games, lots of basketball. And Todd Rushing, the athletic director of Pinckneyville High School, will join us in the middle of the 9 o'clock hour. The final guest that we're going to have on is the leader of the Black Diamond Conference Western Division. The Goreville Blackcats have had a very successful year. Won their own tournament at the beginning of the year, finished second at Sesser-Valier, just got through winning the West Frankfort tournament last weekend. And Todd Tripp of the Goreville Blackcats, head coach, will join us. His team, one of those, it's crossed through. Of course, they played Woodlawn at Sesser-Valier Holiday Tournament, the championship game, and Woodlawn won. But his Goreville Blackcats are on that short list of teams that feed into the Carbondale Super Sectional that you consider to be in there when the running, of course, with Woodlawn and others, that could make that run to Carbondale and then make that drive north to Peoria and represent Southern Illinois in Class 1A basketball. So that's our lineup today. We've already posted our WMIX Sports social media question of the week. It's already on our Facebook page, facebook.com/WMIX Sports. You can go there and read that as well. We won't break it out till after our first guest. And then, of course, we're on Twitter at WMIX Sports. So if you want to talk to us, tweet us, message us on Facebook, we'll be more than happy to talk back with you and tell you and talk with you and discuss sports in general. Scoreboard last night. It was a busy night of high school basketball around the area. Conference games galore. Last night in the South 7, the game you heard right here on WMIX and also at WMIXsports.com. It was Centralia over Mount Vernon 49-36. Cahokia beat Carbondale 89-60, and Altoff held off Marion at home 56-49. In Midland Trail last night, Wayne City beat Noble 54-39. Waltonville over Clay City 54-35. North Clay beat Grayville 81-43. And Odin beat Sandoval 56-51. Non-conference game involving a Midland Trail team was Woodlawn going on the road beating Carmel 66-40. Congratulations to Gabe Owens of Woodlawn High School. Last night he set the single-game record for threes in a game at Woodlawn High School with 10, breaking the previous record held by John Koppel. In the River to River, Ohio last night, Harrisburg over Murphy, 59-49. Massac over West Frankfort, 75-39. And Heron beat Benton at home, 73-47. Mississippi Division last night had 2 overtime games and 1 major upset. The upset was Sparta goes to Nashville and wins 60-50. DuQuoin beat AJ in overtime 57-51, and Pinckneyville holds off Carterville at home 54-52. Black Diamond, Christopher over Alvarado 61-28. Sesser-Valier loses a tough one at home 54-40. Hamilton County beat El Dorado 75-65. Johnston City beat Fairfield 60-51, and Goreville beat ZR 77-69. For more of those scores, and if you want more, there's a lot more than that. I only read a partial lot of them. Go to WMIXsports.com. You can look up on our webpage. You can go to scores, click on them, and you can see the scores by date, by conference, and divided up by tournament for your reading pleasure in all nice, neat fashion in one little tab. What I got to do right now is we got to take a break. Saturday Sports Show brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital. It's what healthcare should be. We'll take a break. When we come back on the other side, it'll be Mount Vernon Boys head basketball coach Scott Gamber joining us. This is a Saturday Sports Show on WMIX.
Too expensive to get back into shape? Not anymore. Wren Lake College's new fitness center is only $53 per semester. They've also thought of everything with universal machines, free weights, treadmills with dedicated TV screens, ellipticals, and more. Qualified dance instructors are also available. Or go at your own pace with DVDs that can be used in the exercise room. Best of all, it's open 7 days a week. Check out the Wren Lake College Fitness Center in the Marketplace off Potomac Boulevard in Mount Vernon. Or log on to wrenlakecollege.edu/Fit Center.
When an emergency happens, time is everything, and you don't want to spend that time in a waiting room. So choose Crossroads Community Hospital with our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge. The entire team is committed to working diligently to have you initially seen by a physician, physician assistant, or nurse practitioner within 30 minutes of your arrival. When minutes matter, choose the ER that doesn't waste time. Choose Crossroads Community Hospital. Visit crossroadscommunityhospital.com/faster to learn more. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, call 911.
Wow. Welcome back to the Saturday Sports Show. Danny Zerwinski here. Chris Hugo, Jeff Crow on assignment. Reese Barnfield in the studio pushing buttons. The first guest out of the gate as usual, Mount Vernon Rams head basketball coach Scott Gamber. I know, Coach, the sun's out right now. I know what the answer is going to be, but how are you feeling this morning?
All right. Rough night last night, but we still got a lot of basketball left, and we've got to bounce back. We got to learn from last night, but then move past it, and we got 2 big home games next weekend that we really got to start worrying about, because if we can get the 2 next week, we can minimize what happened last night a little bit.
When you look at last night, I always felt like when I watched that game, obviously there's going to be a lot of energy. Centralia at home, looking to get back one after they lost to Mount Vernon earlier in the year. But I felt like watching this game, even though Centralia was up early, 14-5, I never really felt like they had really gotten away from you too far, that you guys were always still in the ball game at that point. It never really got ugly or got down big in that first half.
Yeah, on the sideline last night, we got down early, but then we made the run and got it, 18-15. I really thought we were in great shape because they played well early. They hit some shots. We made our run there, and I'm thinking, hey, the energy level's down a little bit. We've gotten it within 3. If we can just keep it around 3 to 5 going into the half, I really liked our chances in the second half. And they closed out that half on, I think, a 9-0 run, and got it to 12 at the half, and now we're playing catch up, and we're not real good playing from behind, and Centralia is really good with the lead, and I think we panicked a little bit. I think I kind of felt like we were trying to get all 12 points, all 10 points we were behind at times back in one possession, and quick possessions led to scores on the other end, and the game went from 10 to 20 in a heartbeat, and it just it got away from us. And the 13-point final is not at all indicative of how bad we got beat last night.
I looked at it, like the second quarter, looking at my unofficial book, 4 out of 7 from the field for your team in the second quarter, and you're thinking, in a Mount Vernon Centralia game, if you had 4 out of 7, you're going to be in the middle of this. Like I said, and you agree, you felt like in the middle of it, but I thought the key stretch in the game was the third quarter, was Centralia came down, and in the first 3 or 4 or 5 possessions, had 3 or 4 turnovers, didn't get a shot up, didn't score, and then that was the key to the game, in my opinion, where the Rams didn't get enough points or didn't get any points up to get back in the game and put a little pressure on Centralia.
No, I completely agree. We were down 12 at the half. We scored on our first possession to start the second half, got it to 10. And you're right, 4 straight possessions, they had a turnover, did not get a shot, and really crack the door open for us to get back in the game, and we were unable to do so, and then they hit shots. And again, and this has happened a couple times this year. I think less is more on our offense. We're shooting the ball a lot of times in certain situations, but they're not quality shots. We would score a lot more if we would shoot it a lot less and make those shots a lot higher percentage. I just think the atmosphere, everything. I think we panicked a little bit. Told the kids, I'd rather them try to do too much than to not, do enough. You just got to find that balance of, you want to compete, you want to fight, you want to get back in the game, but you've got to do it the smart way. And when a team like Centralia in the first half really was shooting the ball well, I mean, the percentage, I think, like 11 for 14 or something from the field. When a team's doing that to you, that's when you've got to get more patient, more solid, keep the ball out of their hands. And I thought we gave them way too many possessions when they were playing well. We weren't getting enough stops to have the number of possessions that occurred in that ball game. And, it was frustrating. I really felt like we had, going into the game, I felt like we were going to have a good chance to win. I thought it was a game that we could maybe, get to 3-4 minutes left in the game and be right there, and it was. I mean, that's as bad as we got beat in a long, long time.
When you look at this game, you've played in it, not in the new arena, but in Trout. As a player, what kind of energy level and mental state of mind does it take to play in a Mount Vernon Centralia game to get yourself geared up for the game, but keep it geared up to keep that energy level throughout so you don't wear down?
Yeah, it's hard, and I think the hardest part about that is being able to calm yourself enough to perform well, because there's so much energy. Their last night, their student section was great, and their kids, were fired up for the game and kind of energy. You've got to be able to mentally get yourself to where you don't get caught up in all of that. Okay, you want to, the motivation, you want to show them, but you've got to do it. You've got to mentally train yourself to stay as calm as you can. I told our kids before the game, this is the atmosphere that you should love to play in. There was, outside of playing at home, there was no place I would have rather played in high school than Centralia, because you cannot get that atmosphere anywhere else besides either at Mount Vernon or at Centralia. And you got to love all these fans booing you, hating you. You've got to do, you should love to have a chance to quiet that crowd. And I don't think we didn't. I think we didn't play hard at times. It's just I think we did it the wrong way, and thought we kind of got down on ourselves early, and just really never got in any kind of rhythm on the offensive end. And a big credit is to them, but I think that their pressure and the atmosphere got us to break away from a lot of plays. We didn't get in a whole lot of sets, and really struggled.
Speaking of changing day, it's a new day. You move on. You have two big home games next week, which should be the cure for a loss. Is that you have Althoff on Friday, you have Jerseyville on Saturday, new to the schedule. Even though it's at home, these are two very tough wins to try to get next weekend.
They are. Althoff game was one we thought we let slip away. We led for 3 quarters and got a double-digit lead there in the second quarter and kind of let that one slip away. But Althoff's playing well. Althoff's 4-2 in the conference. They've lost at Centralia by 1, and then they lost to Cahokia. They won last night by 7 over Marion at home. They beat Marion on the road. It's a big, big game next week. We want to. We're 3-3 in the conference. We really. I don't think we can catch Cahokia. I can't imagine Cahokia having 2 losses, but you still want to finish in the top half of the league. You want to try to get every win you can. And then Saturday, which this is something that's new, and we're trying to get that out there, because our last home game of the year, Marion, is Hall of Fame night, and because those festivities take the amount of time they do, Saturday night against Jerseyville is going to be senior night. Even though it's a 5 o'clock start, it's going to be senior night. So, that night will be special. Even though it's our last home game, but still it's a special night. Jerseyville's a team that you don't really know what you're going to get from them. Early in the year they had some tough losses. They beat T-Town and went undefeated at the Pinckneyville tournament. And they host their own tournament, and they get beat 21 by Alton, and then turn around and beat Collinsville by 15. And, they're a team that's playing a lot better of late. They played Cahokia to a 9-point game. They're a team that's dangerous. We definitely cannot look past anybody. So, you have two really important games for us next weekend if we're going to have a chance to be above 500 and go in to the regional seeding on a little bit of a high note. We still have a lot to play for. That regional is still wide open, and we still have 6 games left, and can still finish in a good way. But we've got to play better than what we've played.
Well, we're going to finish in a good way. I'm not going to mention last weekend's football games. This week's question is, our sports social media question of the week is, if you could play one sport as a professional, make a career out of it, what would it be?
I think golf. Mm-hmm. That would be a pretty sweet life. You're not going to get. You can do that for a long time, and your body's not going to get too beat up, and you just play in nice weather all the time. I think that'd be a pretty good professional gig.
It'll be a good gig. I agree. Scott, we thank you for joining us. We know it's tough to talk about a loss day after, but we appreciate you coming on every Saturday morning talking about it, and we'll see you next weekend with home games against Althoff and Jerseyville.
All right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Scott Gamber, the head coach of the Mount Vernon Rams. They'll host Althoff on Friday night, and Jerseyville, as he mentioned, a senior night game next Saturday night because the Rams are going to do senior night that night because the Hall of Fame ceremony's the weekend of the Marion home game. We need to step out for a break. On the other side, Jeff Lonnon, Mount Vernon High School girls basketball coach, will join us, talk about the Lady Rams week and their game today against Mattoon. You're listening to the Saturday Sports Show, brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital. It's what health care should be. More after this on the Saturday Sports Show on WMIX.
After many successes this season, the Showcase teams look for strong finishes to the regular season. Hi, this is Terry Prosize from Community First Bank. Tune in all month long on WMIX or log on to WMIXsports.com for the best broadcast coverage of Woodlawn, Waltonville, Weber Township, Sesser-Valier, and Wayne City. It's the Jefferson County Basketball Showcase on WMIX, presented by Community First Bank of the Heartland. Welcome back to Personal Banking. Member FDIC.
The Medicine Shop Pharmacy offers convenience and great service, all for the same cost. Our pharmacy staff is so helpful. They're always ready to answer any questions you may have. You'll never wait hours for your prescription. We'll get you in and out in just minutes. Or, for added convenience, use one of our 2 drive-through windows. For those folks who prefer to stay home, our delivery service will bring the medications to your front door or your workplace. Here's pharmacist and pharmacy owner Eric Black to tell you more.
Home delivery does make us stand out from the crowd. Independents like the Medicine Shop offer home delivery. People find that so convenient, and not just seniors, but also busy professionals. Delivery to work or to their home once they get home in the evenings is just a service that sets us apart from our competition, absolutely.
It's so easy to transfer your prescriptions. All it takes is a phone call from you, and we'll take care of the rest. The Medicine Shop Pharmacy accepts Medco, TRICARE, Express Scripts, and many other 90-day plans. The Medicine Shop, 2339 Broadway in Mount Vernon.
You're looking for a great quality SUV to get you through the winter, right? Well, Second Chance Auto has never had a better selection. Find SUVs from small to medium to large. 4-wheel drive models, too. Their inventory has never been better. Cars, trucks, vans, and many priced under $10,000. Instant approval with honest deals on great vehicles. Most have a 3-month or 3,000-mile warranty. And there's bank rate financing for everyone. Make this your best year with a quality SUV from Second Chance Auto. Route 142 East in Mount Vernon. Call 244-4582.
Welcome back. Saturday Sports Show, AM 940 WMIX, and also online at WMIXsports.com. Denny Zerwinski in the studio with Chris Hugo, Mike Rich on assignment, and Jeff Crow in the office finding his tardy slip as he has joined us here as well. Joining us now on the Saturday Sports Show, Mount Vernon Lady Rams head coach Jeff Lonnon. Coach, you're up bright and early this morning. How's it going?
Well, I'm hanging in there. Buddy.
Well, I am too. Running the ship here today. Everybody's else on assignment. 3 games this week for the Lady Rams. You get one on Tuesday night, was kind of the proverbial trap game at Highland. You come back with a big win at Althoff and win at least a share of the South 7 Conference title. How big is that for your team and your program?
Well, it's huge, and, it's one of our goals that we set out at the beginning of the year. For sure, we had 3 goals. One was win 20 games, and the other one was win the conference, and the other one, of course, was to win the regional. So, we got one piece of it. We still got to win another conference game to get it outright. Mm-hmm. We got 3 chances to do that. So we're going to take Centralia on here on Tuesday night at Centralia, which is going to be always difficult. And then, of course, we close out with Marion and then Cahokia. So, our goal right now is, even though we've guaranteed ourselves a piece of it, is to go ahead and try to finish out strong and win this thing outright. We don't want to share it with anybody, obviously. But at the bare minimum, we got a piece of the South 7 as we sit here this morning. That's a great accomplishment for our girls.
As you sit here this morning, a busy stretch, 3 games last week, 3 games this week. You turn around and you get a couple more next week. Busy stretch as season winds down. You had the track game, as I mentioned, on Tuesday, a loss at Highland. Is this today with Matt Tuna home a dangerous game, too, because of the fact that you had that big win Thursday night at Althoff?
Well, I think it's dangerous, not necessarily because we got the win at Althoff, but because we're just physically a little tired right now. And, we've got every one of them. We don't play a lot of kids, and everybody knows that. And the kids that we have played have got a whole bunch of miles on their legs right now. And we got to be, we probably practice a little different than most anybody right now at this time of year. Our practices are pretty short and sweet and to the point because we've just got a lot of miles on our legs, and we got to be very careful as coaches on how much we push the time away from the actual games, because those legs are so important when it comes down to the end here. So, my concern today is not being mentally ready to play, but being physically ready to play.
Physically ready to play. Your Lady Rams play today in a couple of conference games next week. It's one of those deals on a Saturday afternoon, trying to get advantage, trying to get up for a ball game. Is this a case where you got to lean on your seniors a little bit to say, hey, help us out a little bit here with what we got going on? Yeah, for sure. Because today's game is a non-conference game, and in the whole scheme of things that we do, it's not a conference game, and it's not a game that on paper you would consider quite as important as the rest of them that are conference games. But at the same time, if you remember, I said our goal is to win 20 games, and we're at 17 right now, and this is a huge step today to get us to 18, and now we're just 2 away. So from that side of it, from that part of our goals, of winning 20 games, this game does become important. So the seniors know that, and I don't have to tell kids that one of our goals is to win 20, and that we're playing a team today that we can beat and get closer to that. So they'll be ready. I just think that physically we're going to have to kind of just tiptoe our way through it and try to get the job done. We're just a little bit beat up right now. That's all there is to it, Danny. We're physically beat up, I guess is the best way to put it. But at the same time, we've been physically beat up before and got the job done. So, that's just become part of it for us.
you're exactly right. Those seniors will have to perform today.
Seniors will have to perform. You get the number 1 seed in the regional coming up, and we got to ask you to perform now, and that's our WMIX Sports social media question of the week. And this week's question is, if you could play one sport as a professional, make a career out of it, what would it be?
Is fishing a sport?
Yeah, have to be. You get paid to do it, don't you?
I'm in.
Okay.
I mean, I want my own TV show, and I want to travel around the world with one of those big giant semi vans with about 3 bass boats in it. A boat for every occasion. And I want to have the Walmart sponsorship, and kind of like Bill Dance does. Everything at Walmart now has got Bill Dance's name on it. That's what I want. That's me right there. No question about it. If I wasn't doing this, that's what I'd want to do. Professional fisherman.
Got it. Thanks for joining us this morning. We'll see you this afternoon. We broadcast that game live on the FM and view it on WMIXsports.com. Looking forward to it.
All right, Danny. We'll see you there, and thanks for calling.
Thanks for calling. Jeff Lonnon, the head coach of the Mount Vernon Lady Rams. They play Mattoon today. Pre-game around 2:15, 2:20 this afternoon on FM, or watch it at WMIXsports.com. We need to take a break. When we come back, we're going to have the executive director of the IHSA, Greg Hale, joining us next. Saturday Sports Show brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital. It's what healthcare should be. More after this on the Saturday Sports Show on WMIX.
When an emergency happens, time is everything, and you don't want to spend that time in a waiting room. So choose Crossroads Community Hospital. With our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge, the entire team is committed to working diligently to have you initially seen by a physician, physician assistant, or nurse practitioner within 30 minutes of your arrival. When minutes matter, choose the ER that doesn't waste time. Choose Crossroads Community Hospital. Visit crossroadscommunityhospital.com/faster to learn more. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, call 911.
America is a nation on wheels. Everyone has at least one automobile. We use them for shopping, work, everything we do. But they can be a threat. Some accidents can't be prevented. Your professional Pekin Insurance Agency, Page Insurance on Crownview in Mount Vernon, can help protect you from a large financial loss when an accident happens. Call Page Insurance today at 242-7000 about low-cost auto insurance from Pekin Insurance. Ask them about the many money-saving discounts that are available. Depend on your hometown professionals. Pekin Insurance.
People's National Bank understands how much small businesses mean to a community. That's why we've been supporting the local economy of Southern Illinois for over 100 years by providing commercial loans to area businesses. And our loan decisions are made right here in Southern Illinois. Hi, this is Kevin Young, commercial banker for People's National Bank in Mount Vernon. Stop by today to find out what a true community bank is all about.
People's National Bank, proudly supporting local businesses since 1909.
Saturday Sports Show on WMIX. Danny Zawinski in studio with Jeff Crow, Chris Hugo, Mike Richardson on assignment. Joining us now, we transition and shift gears from the high school hardwood to the junior high hardwood. And joining us now, the executive director of the SIJHSAA, Greg Hale, on the line on a busy Saturday for him. Mr. Hale, where are you at this morning as you begin your day?
I'm here at Run Lake College getting ready for our third-place Class L basketball game, one of 4 games that will be here at Run Lake today.
Speaking of Wren Lake, when you talk about basketball, you've been around big game atmospheres, meaning Pinckneyville and different sports. When it comes to junior high basketball, boys and girls state tournaments at Wren Lake College, is there any bigger event for junior high athletics than that goes on those few weeks there at Wren Lake?
No, here in Southern Illinois, probably that's the biggest venue we have is girls and boys basketball. And we've had just really great crowds here this week. But Wren Lake's got a gym that's just a great size for junior high basketball. A little bit bigger court for a junior high player, but it's a great atmosphere. It's centrally located in our athletic association, too, for all the schools as far as travel goes.
Speaking of travel and all that, the great atmosphere that goes on, when you undertook this job as executive director, has it been everything you thought it would be, or has there been a lot more things pop up that you went, wow, I didn't know this went on as when you're doing this job?
Most of it I was pretty well aware of before I went in, and a lot of it is a lot of the same duties I did as athletic director, thinking about high school, running basketball tournaments and organization, things like that. But some of the things that I don't normally have to deal with are eligibility on a larger scale, which I did a little bit as far as athletic eligibility at our school, but dealing with all the schools in our association, you get various calls about different eligibility situations. That's a little bit new, but a lot of the general duties I have to do, running tournaments, hiring officials, things like that, monitoring crowds at games, are a lot of the things I did at Pinckneyville High School.
Speaking of that, when you get to this point in the state tournaments at Wren Lake, and the team's getting there with their coaches and fans, it's an honor, but the officials, too, that are moving up the ranks and starting lower levels and getting to junior high, how do you go about scheduling officials for those tournaments? You know, based, obviously, it's such an honor to get there and officiate in a state tournament.
Well, we do it well in advance, and I know we try to get the best officials possible, and you got to remember sometimes we're at the bottom of the totem pole sometimes as far as officials go, because we play on nights or varsity boys and girls basketball games, but a lot of the officials I hire think this is a great honor to get here, and but as my experience, I'm also a certified official. I know a lot of the officials, and I know the guys that aren't really worried about where they're at. They're worried about doing the best job they can do, and those are the kind of officials we try to get here at Wren Lake as far as our state tournament goes. But usually I have to see somebody officiate or have a really good recommendation on somebody. Well, I'll place them here at the state tournament.
Speaking of the state tournament, as far as the series goes, the IHSA and the SIJHSA are a little different, sometimes similar. When you get into the postseason, and I hear this talk about all the time, as coaches talk about being a seed, top seed, and the hosting, it's so hard to get everybody to host and rotate whatnot. Is there a best way system to help teams be able to host or not be able to host based on what's going on? It seems like there's always an issue every year somewhere in Southern Illinois about teams hosting or not hosting in a junior high tournament.
Yeah, well, when I took over the job, we really were wide open as far as each regional has a meeting and they select where they want to host, the games. A lot of them were using the highest seeded team would get the option of hosting. If they didn't want to host it, they go to the second seed and so on down. And some, very few rotated. So last year, after going through a number of different issues with our regionals in all sports, we voted that each region would have one of two options. That would be to either get on a rotation system or select the highest seeded team be your host. And we said we're going to do this for like 5 years. So once they selected that, they stayed with that system for 5 years. So if they wanted a rotation, that would make sure in that 5-year period they would get to host a regional. So that's pretty well worked out, and that way each regional gets an option of which one of those two ways they want to select a host site.
And with teams switching around, how much difficulty do you run into with teams that their turn was in the other regional, but they get moved to this one because obviously teams switch enrollments and classes? How difficult's that been so far?
Not too difficult, but that really happens more. There's a couple teams that fluctuate from. We have the top 32 teams in basketball, your Class L teams, and the next 32 your M teams. There's always a few that fluctuate between L and M and M and S, but that whenever they go into a regional, if they go into a rotation, we usually have talked to them about when was the last time you hosted, and we put them in that regional rotation according to the last time they hosted. So in that case, not a problem. And if they go into a regional that does highest seeded team, it really doesn't matter.
Some of the things, same people get there every year. Seems like same teams. But when teams have the success they've had, where you see teams that have been there and they get back, do you see maybe a letdown from teams when they get to Wren Lake, or is this every year's a new year and everybody's so excited to be at the state at Wren Lake?
Well, I think I was lucky my son played here in the state championship game, and I coached at St. Bruno Tamaroa, so it's I think any team gets there, it's a great honor, and I think the kid, for the coaches it might get old a little bit, but for the players it's always a new set of players, and I do see a lot of the same teams getting here all the time. I can attribute that to a lot of the coaches have taken an interest in summer play, and a lot of them play all summer against good competition, and then I'm seeing a lot of Class S teams now are going up and playing better schedules, playing Class L teams, and I think that does help you in the long run. So there are some things some schools are doing to get better, aside from just play during the season.
One of the things that you have done since in your tenure is you've added the sport of bowling, the state tournament for IHSA this week in O'Fallon. How has bowling gone over at the junior high level since you've put that in?
Well, last year was our first year of bowling, and we entered it as an individual sport last year, so it was all individuals. We had like 135 boys and girls at St. Clair lanes in Fairview Heights. And after the turnout we had, it was very positive. We had a lot of interest in it. Last fall at our board meeting, we voted to make it a team sport. So this year we have got 14 to 15 boys and girls teams entered in individual divisions. We'll have a boys state championship team-wise for bowling and a girls state championship team-wise for bowling, where we'll award the trophies for the first 4 places. And we'll also have our individual bowling tournament also in conjunction with it. So it's run just like cross-country, really.
And it goes very well, and it gives opportunity to kids to join other sports. We're going to give you an opportunity to answer our WMIX Sports social media question of the week. And I know with all the skills that you have, especially on the golf course, this question's for you. If you could play only one sport as a professional, make a career out of it, what would it be?
I believe that'd be golf.
See, I knew that. I knew from your time out at Pinckneyville's golf course, like I do, you got some professional golf skills in you.
Well, I don't know about that. I'll need some more practice to hone those in. But I think we're looking at all the professional sports right now. Golf might have some nice longevity right now and nice payout.
That's not bad. Hey, we thank you for joining us this morning. You know you're going to be very busy now today, but the next few weeks at state tournament, and good luck in running it. Good luck in your job. We know you do a very good job as the executive director, and thank you for joining us this morning on the Saturday Sports Show.
I'd like to thank you guys for all the coverage you give to not only the junior high sports, but high school sports in Southern Illinois, too.
Thank you. We appreciate you being on. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
That was Greg Hale, the executive director of the IHSA. Of course, that is what's going on over at Wren Lake, not only today with the girls' state basketball tournaments wrapping up, but the boys will be going in the next few weeks. You want to talk about atmosphere? Head out to Wren Lake, check that out. Speaking of atmosphere, coming up on the Saturday Sports Show, the voice of Mount Carmel Athletics on our sister station WYNG in Mount Carmel, Bob Bowser, will join us next. You're listening to Saturday Sports Show, brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital. It's what healthcare should be here on WMIX.
Southern Illinois now has a better home for sports. It's the all-new WMIXSports.com. Jam-packed with local scores, video highlights, and archives of every local sports broadcast on WMIX. Did your team win? Missed that game-winning shot last night? Didn't catch your favorite coach on the Saturday Sports Show? WMIXSports.com is right at your fingertips. On your computer, your smartphone, your tablet, or your video game console. It's the all-new WMIXSports.com. Another free service from Withers Broadcasting.
The Orthopedic Center of Southern Illinois proudly welcomes Dr. Brian Steinke to their medical staff. Dr. Steinke earned his medical degree at the University of Illinois in Chicago and has degrees in anatomy and physiology from UC Berkeley, and he brings prestigious credentials to the center. Dr. Steinke is a gifted physician and contributor to orthopedic textbooks. Call 618-242-3778 or visit their informative website at orthocenter-si.com.
I know you've heard about mortgage rates being all-time lows, but have you done anything about it yet? Hi, I'm Rick Pigg, mortgage lender at Community First Bank. There's never been a better time at buying a home or refinancing an existing mortgage. The sooner you act, the more you save, and we'll be there to help you through every step of the way. For more information, visit us at comfirstbank.net or stop by one of our 5 locations.
Community First Bank with locations in Mount Vernon, Woodlawn, Dix, and Ina. Welcome back to Personal Banking. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Giddy up. Here we go. Saturday Sports Show on AM 940 WMIX and at WMIXSports.com. Denny Zerwinski with Jeff Curl alongside Pushing the Buttons. Joining us now, the voice of Mount Vernon, here I go again, Mount Carmel Athletics on our sister station WYNG 94.9 FM in Mount Carmel, Mr. Bob Bowser. Mr. Bowser,
Good morning, Chris.
How are you, man? How's it going?
Oh, I tell you what. Golden Aces basketball.
Golden Aces basketball today. You're at the Pinckneyville shootout today. Are you getting ready to head out and head over to Pinckneyville?
Getting ready to head out here in a little bit. My partner, Jason White, will be joining from side of the state to take in Panther territory.
Oh, you mean Lane Kiffin, Monty Kiffin, whatever he's going by today?
Something like that.
Mount Carmel gets Oakville today. That's an interesting matchup for the Golden Aces. It seems you guys don't normally see on the schedule.
Well, that's very true. And winter, but at the same time, I I tell you what, I expect some good basketball to be played over there today.
The good basketball will be played over there at Pinckneyville today. And, of course, you guys, you and Jason, you get to do some good things at Mount Carmel. Obviously, Mount Carmel football, you get to broadcast. This other sport and this other player's kind of taking over with attention. Tyra Buss, 3,000 points, and she's not even done with her junior year yet. Where does she rank as far as players concerned that you've seen in your career, whether it's broadcasting or watching in general?
Okay, she has to be at the top of the list. There's been several players that I've been able to see up and down, whether it's the Southern. But at the same time, when I was thinking about this morning, Chris, just before I got on the air here with you, I'm thinking, when is the last time that Southern Illinois has seen an athlete, not just a basketball player, but an athlete, make the IHSA state tournament in tennis, cross-country, track? So there's 3 individual sports that she has made to the state tournament, as well as perform as well as she has on the basketball court. We've seen basketball players that have been outstanding basketball players. But when you're talking athlete, tennis, track, cross-country, what she can do on a basketball court, and then add to that punt, pass, and kick, she can throw a football too. That's just unreal.
When you talk about her and the athletic prowess, and she gets a lot of basketball coverage, obviously 3,000 points in 2.5 years, you're going to get it. Is basketball really possibly not her best sport? Maybe tennis? That's kind of the way I look at it.
Well, there are those that would argue that tennis is her best sport. I've also seen her run the hurdles very well. She does very well in cross-country. She's just very athletic, but her love and her passion, I believe, are right there with basketball. And Jay Scheidler was a pure scorer. Mm-hmm. But Tyra Buss, not only does she shoot the basketball very well, and she's a pure scorer, but something that's unusual with Tyra is you're seeing the ball handling skills, you're seeing the defense that's being played, the passing ability when necessary. So she's able to do all of the things on the court, not only just fill it up from the three-point line or fill it up from layups or make the unusual amount of free throws that she makes.
I look at it this way, too. In this day and age, you see a lot of kids kind of individualize sports. They play one. They're working for one. They play it year-round. They play travel. They play school. How refreshing is it to see a high school kid like Tyra Buss play and work hard and get better at multiple sports, just keep doing what she's doing?
Absolutely, I love it. I love watching will compete in the spring. When I was coaching for several years, I told my kids, I said, hey, you're either going to go out and compete in a winter sport, or you're going to compete in a spring sport, or you're going to be in the weight room. One or the other, it makes no difference. Back in the cross-country and the tennis, that just allows her to develop many other facets of her athletic prowess.
Speaking of athletic prowess, they're the number 1 seed in the regional. You broadcast several of their games along with Jason White. What do you see as their potential as far as postseason goes?
Well, obviously we're going to get into that sectional, and I shouldn't jump ahead. As a broadcaster, I can do that.
Yes, you can.
Head Coach Willis cannot do that whatsoever, but because Harrisburg is going to be a load in the regional, as well as any other team can beat you on any given night. But as far as, when you're talking the question of where can they get to, when or if we do get into that sectional, you're looking at a Marshall team that is just catching fire. We played them early on in the Robinson Thanksgiving tournament. We beat them, but throughout the season they've continued to get better. Then you're looking at most likely Pana would be our first game, and I tell you what, Pana would be a load. They just got their one of their top players back about 3 weeks ago, and then you also have T-Town in there. So what I think at one time here just recently we saw it was the number 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. The 4, 6, 8, and 10 ranked teams in Class 2A feeding into one sectional, and the number 2 team feeds into the super sectional.
That's amazing. That's a lot of competition going on over there.
Well, and that's it.
Let's see if he comes back. Going once. Going twice.
Hello.
Hello, you're there. You're back. You got in a dead spot there or something. Are you there? We've lost him.
Hello.
Hello, are you there? Can you hear us?
I'm here.
Okay, good. Hey, let's do this. We got our last question. We always ask our guests, the Saturday Sports Show's social media question of the week, and this week's question is, if you could play one sport professionally as a career, what would it be?
Oh, baseball.
Baseball, easily?
I'm sorry. I didn't even think about that, did I? Baseball.
No. Yeah, baseball.
For the Cardinals.
For the Cardinals?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay. Hey.
And you know what? Honestly, I don't want to play anymore. I just want to manage.
Hey, yeah, manage would be great, wouldn't it? Or coach, bullpen guy?
Or GM. Heck, I could stay up there in the air conditioning.
Hey, so as GMs, we've learned there's guys and gals that have GM jobs that anybody can do it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Hey, we appreciate you joining us this morning, Bob. It's been good talking with you. Have a safe trip over to Pinckneyville this afternoon, and good luck with the Rockets. And enjoy covering Tyra Bus not only this year but next year, because that's an athlete you don't get to see all the time.
Well, thank you, Chris. And we want to also let your listeners know that they can catch us anytime on 94.9 WYNG-FM, or they can catch us on WYNG-FM.com.
You betcha. Thanks for joining us, Bob. Have a good day today.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Bob Bowser, the voice of Mount Carmel Athletics on WYNG 94.9 FM out of Mount Carmel, one of our sister stations. They get to cover Mount Carmel football and Mount Carmel everything, obviously, over there on that show. We need to take a break. We'll come back. We got a scoreboard update coming up from last night. Maybe a schedule of games from around the area as well. You're listening to Saturday Sports Show on WMIX, brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital. It's what healthcare should be. Stay tuned. Scores just around the corner here on WMIX.
The regular season is winding down for the Mount Vernon Rams and Lady Rams. This is Terry Prosise from Community First Bank of the Heartland. WMIX and WMIXSports.com will have all of the action as the Rams and Lady Rams look to contend for South 7 Conference and postseason titles. Watch the action on game night on WMIXSports.com or keep your radio tuned to WMIX for Rams and Lady Rams basketball, powered by Community First Bank. Welcome back to Personal Banking. Member FDIC.
This is WMIX, Mount Vernon, Marion, another Withers Broadcasting Station.
America is a nation on wheels. Everyone has at least one automobile. We use them for shopping, work, everything we do. But they can be a threat. Some accidents can't be prevented. Your professional Pekin Insurance Agency, Page Insurance on Crownview in Mount Vernon, can help protect you from a large financial loss when an accident happens. Call Page Insurance today at 242-7000 about low-cost auto insurance from Pekin Insurance. Ask them about the many money-saving discounts that are available. Depend on your hometown professionals. Pekin Insurance.
The calendar has turned to a new year, but we still have an amazing deal on a 2012 Ford F-250 Super Duty pickup. Hi, Roy Schmidt, Ford dealer, Ford Square, Mount Vernon. We have a beautiful black F-250 Super Duty 4x4 crew cab ready to work for you. And when you finance through Ford Motor Credit, you'll save $2,000 plus 3 payments on us. That's a $3,500 in total savings. With the preferred equipment package and snowplow package, this is the perfect truck on the job and on the farm. Speaking of, if you're a Farm Bureau member, ask how you can save an additional $500. Come see one of our sales associates today and save big on a new 2012 Ford F-250 Super Duty at Ford Square, Mount Vernon, 1501 Broadway, Mount Vernon, Illinois, and online at fordsquare.com or find us on Facebook.
When an emergency happens, time is everything, and you don't want to spend that time in a waiting room. So choose Crossroads Community Hospital with our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge. The entire team is committed to working diligently to have you initially seen by a physician, physician assistant, or nurse practitioner within 30 minutes of your arrival. When minutes matter, choose the ER that doesn't waste time. Choose Crossroads Community Hospital. Visit crossroadscommunityhospital.com/faster to learn more. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, call 911.
Saturday Sports Show on AM 940 WMIX, as well as at WMIXSports.com. Hey, we're on social media, too. Follow us on Twitter at WMIX Sports. We also have our Facebook page, facebook.com/WMIX Sports. We'd like for you to go there, read our content we post all the time. You can like us, and, of course, post your answer to our WMIX Sports social media question this week. We need to get a scoreboard update in now here at the top of the hour. In the South Egyptian Conference last night, it was, scrolled too far, hold on here. Meridian beat Egyptian 79-64. Century over Dongola 70-59. In the Apollo, it was Salem over Paris, 59-47. Effingham beat Charleston, 49-45. And Mattoon beat Mount Zion, 61-43. Regular season games last night. T-Town beat Paxton Buckley Loaded, 66-27. Carlisle beats Pana, 74-54. It was Oakville over Columbia, 41-27. In the Colquitt Conference, Breeze Central beat Freeburg, 56-49. Westcliff beat Redbud, 67-40. Dupo beat Marissa Coulterville, 48-37. And New Athens beat Steelville, 55-50. That's a huge game as far as the Waltonville Class 1A Boys Regional is concerned. In the Southwestern Conference last night, O'Fallon beat Alton 73-67. Belleville West beat Granite City 59-56. It was East St. Louis over Collinsville 76-60. And Belleville East won a big matchup today against Edwardsville 72-61. It will be Edwardsville and Cahokia tonight at the Pinckneyville Shootout. In Mississippi Valley, Civic beat Waterloo 47-45. Mascoutah beat Triad 49-39. In the Little Illini Conference Championship last night, the tournament, Casey Westfield beats Newton 74-61. At the NTC, it was St. Anthony over South Central 56-23, and Altamont beats Stu Strauss 66-57. In the GEC semifinals last night, Carrier Mills beat NCOE 57-42. Gallatin County beat Thompsonville 55-24. And the seventh place game, Galatia beat Crab Orchard 59-56. Need more scores? Go to WMIXsports.com. We have scores, schedules, highlights, archives, both audio and visual, and our broadcast schedule as well. It's at WMIXsports.com. A scores tab, click on it, pumps down, and it'll give you scores by date, divided by conference, divided by tournament, all organized for you to look at in one big place. With that, we move on to the phone lines, and it's that time of year, and we always think about these things and think about these people in a good light. At least we do here at WMIX Sports. Joining us now, IHSA basketball clinician from DuQuoin, Illinois, Mr. Aaron Wright on the line to talk refereeing and officiating. Mr. Wright, how are you this morning on this Saturday?
I'm wonderful. Beautiful morning outside, and I'm glad to be on with you today.
Hey, I look at it, refereeing, you get this time of year, a lot of miles, a lot of games, a lot of miles on the legs as well at this time of the year. Is it a mental grind almost as much as a physical grind when you get to late January, early February for an official?
Absolutely, with no doubt, because when you get holiday tournaments and you get the tournament with midwinters this time of year, it's almost like you need a break to gear up for the regionals. It's tough. It really is, because it gets down to the grind of the conference tournaments, the conference championship games, and you got to bring your A game every night this time of year.
When you bring your A game, you're talking about that, and you mentioned holiday tournaments, midwinter tournaments. Today and next couple of weekends, a lot of shootout games going on. Sometimes referees will do multiple games, 2-3 again a day. Does it get to a point when you do that third and fourth one, maybe that's too much in a day, maybe it needs to be a limit on officials? Absolutely. I know there's a shortage of officials, but maybe a limit?
Absolutely. But you hit on a good point. There's not enough officials, and a lot of these ADs want some of the veteran officials on these games, and at some point you got to say no, but you feel bad for saying no because it's a big game, and so you got to try to find a balance, and at some point you got to say no, and try to schedule your own schedule to suit your body and your lifestyle.
You as a clinician, I didn't say official, I said clinician. What is the role and title when you're an IHSA clinician for a sport?
Well, in the summertime, you give clinics. I always give a level 2 clinic. I'm maybe giving 2 this year because of the demand from last year. But I try to bring people on with me when I do the clinicians to help every official, but really geared toward the younger officials and teach them right, teach them the rules, teach them game management, teach them the right way to do things, and it goes into taking care of your body even, and scheduling and dealing with ADs, and so it's kind of like a training model that we kind of do for younger officials.
Speaking of training model, you are with the crew, Corey Hepp from Pinckneyville, Jeff Fetchel from El Dorado, Hamilton County. When you get together and you build a crew, is it important as a young official to find a couple of guys or gals to work together all the time, or is that just a deal where you kind of happen to look into and this is how it's going to work because of that's the guys or gals you're working with?
Yeah, we got lucky. We kind of stumbled into each other. Jeff and I got together when we started doing college basketball 10 years or so, and Corey was available moving back. And so it's very as you move up on the ladder of varsity, it's almost imperative now to get a crew. And when I say get a crew, get people that, age doesn't matter, but it's always nice because you ride together, you hang out together, and you really, I probably spend more time with Corey and Jeff than I do my own family in the wintertime, per se, because we're traveling and we're together and doing all the games. And so it's very important. And not only this, but when you get down to late season, things like we talked about earlier, you want to go on that floor with, you look across that floor and you see a partner that you trust, it's going to take care of his area. And when you go into that game with somebody you don't know or don't work with, that goes in the back of my mind. Do I need to call a little bit out of my area? Do I let it go? And so kind of a lot of questions come in there, but it's very beneficial to get a crew and work together and move up the ladder together.
That leads to my next question. This has always been a thought of mine. When it comes to postseason, when you just said that you as a referee feel comfortable working with the crew you work with 50, 60, 70 games in a year, why in the postseason all of a sudden do we split, conquer, and divide officials and put them with different people in the postseason when it's the most important time of the year?
When you figure that out, write a book.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what IHSA does with that. I can't even go to, give a guess on that. I wish they would keep crews together. I would much rather go into my sectional game or regional final game, like I said, and look across and feel 100% confident that I'm working with the crew that I want to be on that game with.
So that's what I can never figure out. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but when you guys work together in the summer and in the winter, all time, all long, and then you get to say it's got to be hard because it would be like us as radio broadcasters. We've done 50, 60 games there, Chris and I have, or whatever, and you get to the postseason and we're going to say, okay, we're going to split up and change a bunch of guys and gals up. Here we go. It's got to be hard to look over and say, when you blow that whistle and somebody else blows the whistle, what are you going to do, isn't it?
Right, yeah. You just want to know that you have that confidence on the floor and that comfortable feeling when you walk out. And I've been fortunate to work with a lot of good guys on the way up sectionals and stuff. But there's always that thought in the back of your mind when you're driving to your first regional game that you don't know one of your partners or two, or a sectional game and you're going and thinking, man, who am I working with tonight? That's not always a good thing, but they're there for a reason, so you hope they've got a certain level of skill that they can go in there, and I'm sure they're thinking the same thing when they're coming to work with me.
When you go to a game and you get ready to go, and obviously some games are bigger than others and whatever else, different facilities, how much, and I bring this facility question into the play here, how much of a matter is it of the facility you're doing a game in compared to others based on the floor, the spacing, and everything else involved?
Well, there's always gyms that you like to work in because you say that there's a lot of area. Sparta, Chester, Pinckneyville, DuQuoin. You got a lot of room to work, and I won't name any that are small, but you get in those that you're every single trip down the floor. You've got to pay attention to the cheerleaders because they're standing 2 feet from the end line. And it's stuff that you have to consider, and you lose your concentration once in a while if you bump into a cheerleader, or you can't run down the sideline on a fast break because the coaches and the players are on that side. So it kind of alters. I have normal patterns that I take in my, when I drop back into the trail or the lead. And if you can't do that, it just alters it a little and makes it just a little bit tougher to your whole night.
When you talk about officiating, block charge probably arguably the toughest call. Is there really a call for you and or your crew that stands out as, oh my gosh, I dread when that one comes up because it's such a tough call?
Well, I've always taken the approach on that block charge, referee the defense and see who's got an advantage, disadvantage. And although it is a tough, and I said this for a few years now, my personal opinion, the athletes are getting so good that some of the more simple calls are getting more and more tough because players can play through so much stuff now. And so do you that little hand check or bump that's going to the rim, can you let it go and let him play through it and get to the rim and get a basket? Or do you call it 6 feet, a hand check 6 feet from the bucket when he's got a free layup going and you just don't know if he's going to play through it? So sometimes just, that it's just getting harder and harder to call that style of basketball.
I've kind of harped on for years, and now it's my new thing now. I got the horse collar in football in high school. Now I'm going on to something else. What drives me bonkers as a broadcaster is to see a kid, not the fact he takes a charge, everybody likes to see good defense, but the fact the kid takes the charge standing, he can look straight up and look through the goal. He can look through the rim. Are we getting to that point where that halo's coming in high school basketball like in college and the pros?
I would doubt it. That would just complicate things, in my opinion. I just don't think it's going to come out. I would be surprised if it does. Again, that's just adding another training, another complication to the game that, we're not trained probably as officials the way college officials are trained. Mm-hmm. So that's a tough one in college, that ring, that block charge ring, because it's secondary defender is what it is. So I doubt if it'll come. Would it help? I don't know. I don't think it's that, the block charge. If a good official can sell a call, regardless, you got a lot of calls on that, 50-50. It's just the way it is. And if you can sell it, it's okay. It's just part of the game.
Part of the game. Name me an obscure rule that a basketball fan may or may not know about that's in the book.
Sometimes my wife, God bless her, she doesn't want to admit that she knows probably more than the average person just hanging around with me. But one of the mechanics I have, but a rebounding foul, if a kid can jump higher than a kid standing in front, if they go straight up, you hear a lot of rebounding fouls, but kids can jump nowadays, and unless they bump the kid in front of them and reach over them, but if you can jump higher, and that's something that the fans just want, a rebounding foul, even coaches do. A long rebound, and it kind of looks like he goes over the back, but he's jumping a foot higher. You got to take into consideration athletes, and that goes back to, better athletes. But rebounding fouls are one that I just think fans don't know about. Just because a kid can jump higher doesn't mean it's a rebounding foul.
Is that the proverbial scream of over the back when there's really no over the back in the book?
I would say,
yeah.
Show me where it's over the back. It's just a rebounding foul. It's a push foul. It's funny. I wish I would have kept, I would say this for years, I wish I would have kept a journal for, it's 22 years I've been officiating. I wish I would have kept a journal of things like that I've heard in the crowd and just jotted them down, but I never have.
You never hear the law of verticality was just broke?
Right.
Yeah.
No.
Right, you don't hear that yelled very much, do you?
No, you don't, and that's part of it. You've got the floor to the gym ceiling to go up.
Right.
Another one on a block charge I hear quite a bit is, my player's feet were on the ground. You don't necessarily have to be on the ground for, because of verticality. If you go straight up and the kid goes to layup and pushes off, it could be an offensive foul.
Right.
Or, kids are, the block charge with the defensive things that the fans holler, it gets comical too.
Comical is go ahead.
All you got to be is in legal guarding position to take an offensive foul, and people don't know what legal guarding position is, and it's you hear a lot about that, push-offs and everything else.
The key to me is, and like you mentioned just earlier, is advantage or disadvantage. If somebody gains an advantage, that's a foul. But a lot of people don't understand that whole deal.
Explain it?
Yeah, no, I said a lot of people don't understand that is the fact that if I'm guarding you and I gain an advantage, that's a foul on me because I'm hacking and pushing. Right.
And it may be just the smallest of bumps, but if it causes an advantage, you got to call it because a little push off to get a shot off. I've called it before, offensive foul. I pushed off with an off arm, and coaches want to know something. I said, well, he wouldn't have got that shot off if he didn't bump the defender.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. And then I can see that. And you just got to be consistent, and that's the key. A lot of coaches want consistency on that.
The final topic I want to hit on, and of course we can talk in-game rules, we can talk situations. The topic I wanted to see is I've noticed this year a lot more patience, leniency, maybe listening with officials and coaches this year? Has that kind of been an emphasis thing, or is that just based on I'm happening to see the right things at the right time where, officials are talking to coaches and letting the coaches talk a little bit more to kind of vent what's going on in a game?
Yeah, when I do clinics, I always tell, especially the younger people, to listen to what these coaches say. Don't get mad because they're challenging you, because the game's played with a lot of emotion, especially big games. So you have to have that empathy for the coach to know, hey, he's fighting for his kids. So listen to what he has to say, address what he has to say, and be done with it. Don't have a conversation with him, and that's something that I do because, if I missed a call, I'll let a coach chew on me a minute, go over there, Coach, I missed it. You stress, have some patience. There's a lot of emotion in the game of basketball, and especially this time of year. You may see, fewer and fewer technicals at the end of the year because hopefully these referees know that, especially regional, somebody's going home if you lose. So there's a lot of emotion. Doesn't excuse some behavior, but you got to have some patience. You got to have, kind of talking to them. And let them know. We always say in our captain meetings with me and Jeff and Corey, guys, listen to us if we talk to you. If you want to talk to us respectfully, and you'll get a respectful answer. And so that's kind of how we approach it.
Hey, I'm looking for an answer here to our final question for you. Our WMIX Sports social media question of the week this week is, if you could play one sport as a professional, make a career out of it, what would it be?
I am a huge basketball fan, but I would play NFL football.
I can imagine who you would play for.
You are correct.
Yeah.
But I would be watching right now. But I'm just a huge football fan. I think the athletes are unbelievable. The stuff that they do on the field, the hits and the athleticism, it's amazing. I can sit and watch NFL football on Sunday all day. My wife may get mad, but I can watch it all day.
Well, it does make you mad because our mutual team does make us mad. I can tell you that, doesn't it?
Oh, it's infuriating the way things run.
Yes, they are.
That's why I'm sitting on the couch on Sundays and not in a booth or on a coaching staff.
Hey, we're going to have to do this again sometime. 10, 15 minutes wasn't enough. You got time later on to maybe down the road will join us again and do this?
Most definitely, anytime.
All right, good luck today in your game or games that you have today, Aaron. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Hey, Aaron Wright, IHSA basketball clinician, joins the Saturday Sports Show. We need to take a break, come back. We're going to talk Pinckneyville shootout today. Umpteen number of games going on in the basketball mecca at Pinckneyville High School. You're listening to Saturday Sports Show brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital. It's what healthcare should be. Athletic Director Todd Rushing from Pinckneyville High School will join us after the break here on WMIX.
Do you farm or operate an agriculture-based business? Then Community First Bank is for you. Hi, I'm Steve Down, Agribusiness Lending Officer at Community First Bank. With our roots firmly planted in Jefferson County, we offer the stability, strength, and personal attention that you deserve. Community First Bank wants to be your financial partner with customized products for both your personal and farm banking needs. Stop by any of our 5 convenient Jefferson County locations to see how we can help your business grow.
Community First Bank with locations in Mount Vernon, Woodlawn, Dix, and Ina. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hello, I'm Morgan. A few months ago, my gynecologist said that I needed surgery, a hysterectomy. I thought for sure I'd have to leave Southern Illinois to have it done, but I was surprised to find out that not only could Good Samaritan Regional Health Center do the surgery, they had one of the nation's most advanced surgical systems. They called it the Da Vinci. It was basically this robot that translated whatever movements the surgeon was making into even tinier, more precise movements. My doc even told me that over 100 of these procedures had been done at Good Samaritan. Well, the surgery went great, and I was out of the hospital in no time. And because I was close to home, my whole family was with me every step of the way. Good Samaritan is my new hospital of choice. And starting in 2013, they'll be opening an all-new regional health center with even more advanced services. It makes me happy to know they'll still be around when my kids have families and need specialized medical care. That means a lot to me.
Good Samaritan Regional Health Center. Raising a hospital, raising the bar.
Sunday, February 3rd, the San Francisco 49ers and the Baltimore Ravens square off for a chance to take home the Lombardi Trophy. Hi, everybody. This is Boomer Esiason. Join me and the rest of our Dial Global Sports crew from New Orleans for all of the action of Super Bowl 47. Can Colin Kaepernick lead the 49ers to their 6th Super Bowl title? Or will Ray Lewis and the Ravens prevail? If it's Super Bowl 47, it's right here.
Super Bowl 47 lives on 94.1 WMIX.
Almost half hour of the Saturday Sports Show. Denny Zerwinski here. Chris Hugo and Mike Richardson away on assignment. Jeff Curl alongside pushing the buttons. And a huge day of basketball. Pinckneyville High School today, including one grade school side as well. Pinckneyville shootout going on today. Joining me now is the athletic director at Pinckneyville High School, Todd Rushing. And Coach Rushing, Todd Rushing, all the above. Mr. Rushing, how busy are you this morning?
As a one-legged man in the butt-kicking contest.
Well, that's pretty busy. I've heard that saying before somewhere on the golf course, I believe.
Yeah. Some famous people. I'm not sure who it was. Somebody really famous started that.
Really famous. Keno definitely started that. There's a few others that have started that as well.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Hey, the Pinckneyville shootout, this thing is involved, the Panthers showcase has evolved from about a 4 or 5 game deal to an extravaganza in 3 different places today. How did this blow up into such a big-time event that it has here today?
Well, I think a lot of teams really do, enjoy playing here. It's a basketball town, good atmosphere, and it got bigger than we really wanted because, I think like a lot of people play in Thomas Gym, but we just had a lot of people wanting to play, and when you got an opportunity for teams to come play in the basketball area that Pinckneyville and Southern Illinois is, we thought, well, let's get all the games we can here, and the people just come and they can get a real heavy dose of basketball today.
One of the things that you guys are doing today that's a little different to what everybody else does, usually you have shootout games, you have 4 or 5 games, all varsity teams. This year you have JV games. You've had it in the last few years too, but you have a roll of JV games too where some of these teams playing can get their JV teams some games because when you play shootouts, sometimes you lose those JV games.
Well, I think that's the key thing to getting teams to come because a lot of teams don't like to give up their JV games because, that's your team of the future. And when we can provide them a place to come and play and they get a JV game in against somebody different than they normally play, I think that's kind of an extra added bonus to lure teams here.
And that's the deal is there's a bunch of JV games. And ability of Pinckneyville, you got several gyms within the town. And that's at St. Bruno. You have 6 JV games or 5 JV games there today. That's a huge help in drawing some of these teams in that have a problem with playing varsity games only.
Yeah, especially some of the ones that it's a distance travel and they think we're giving up a JV game and our team of the future, but we get them here and it's a nice gym to play in. It's not a lot of seating, but it's a nice wood floor. And then with our new auxiliary gym here, we got a couple girls games in there and 1 JV game in there today, and then 3 varsity games in there. So it's going to be quite a extravaganza, as you said, over here today. And I wore my tennis shoes today. I told my wife, I said, no dress shoes. I'm going to be at a track meet, so I need to wear my tennis shoes.
Speaking of that track meet that goes on, so many games going on. I mean, you got the likes of Breeze Central girls coming in. You have Edwardsville, Cahokia in a matchup later tonight. Pinckneyville and Carroll renew a matchup from the BIT and postseason games in the past. Lanark playing Goreville. I mean, this is a pretty good shootout with a lot of teams. Oakville in there as well, where you've got a lot of teams with some deep postseason run potential going on that are going to get to play there.
Yeah, I think Metamore's honorable mention in 3A. We did have a change in the schedule. Pinckneyville was playing Trenton Westland.
Okay.
And Carroll was playing Valmar. We had a mix-up in the scheduling, and we had to add another game, and with Valmar gracious to come down, and we swapped it around. Carroll wanted to play a little early, so they're going to play Carroll, Valmar is, and we're going to play Trenton Westland.
All right, that's another matchup that's been changed. And, again, here's another thing, too. How helpful has the auxiliary gym been as far as the Duster Thomas and the shootout goes?
It's just been a big plus in all area, not only just the games, but even in practice. It allows our kids to have practice facility, and our freshmen don't have to go at 6 o'clock in the morning all the time. They can get some evening practice also. It's been a lot better on them. So, yeah, it's just really nice to have that. It's a nice gym. I mean, it really is. It doesn't seat a lot, 750 people, but it's nice enough that and as far as the floor, it's as good as any gym around.
Speaking of that, any gym around, what's the cost of admission a day, and how does this thing work when you're going to all these games?
Well, it's $8 for adults. I think $3 for students. That's their all-day ticket. And then later tonight, when we get real late at night for the last couple games, I think after the start of the next to last game, the 8 o'clock game, we're going to cut the cost down to $5. So people are only going to go see a game or two. Your game have only not to pay $5, not $8. But it's $8 for that. Gets you into the games all day. The games at St. Bruno are free. The JV games, there's no charge over there, but it's $8 to get in here, but that lets you stay in all day.
And that's $8 covers not one gym but 2 gyms because you can walk freely between both and check things out, right?
Yes, it's both gyms. They're going to have just one gate in the front and the pass gates in the back, and the $8 is for the whole day, yes.
How many people does it take to get everybody work? Obviously, you're not working the whole thing by yourself, but how many volunteers on average are going to be working all day there today at Pinckneyville High School to help this thing run?
Well, most importantly, I got Mrs. Rushing. She's the superintendent of this affair. She's running the hospitality room for me. Let's see, I probably got in the neighborhood of 24 volunteers working.
That's not a bad little deal set up here for a big shootout like that.
No, it's 24 to 30 people counting the parking attendants and everything. Probably close to 30 people.
Okay. Hey, I got one last question for you and let you go because it's going to be such a busy day for you, and I'll be over there later this afternoon, of course. Our WMIX Sports social media question of the week is, if you could play one sport as a professional, make a career out of it, what would it be?
Oh, it has to be baseball. I didn't know I was a baseball guy because they got the best time of the year. I like to hunt and everything, and they're off during hunting season, and it's a lot easier on your body than me. I'd love to play football, but I don't think my body'd take that, so I think I'd probably be basketball or golf. Baseball or golf. I'd like to take up golf.
Well, golf might be better, but it probably wouldn't be as much fun as what you and I have during the summer if we had to play for pro.
No, I couldn't keep quiet like they want you to. I have to play in the bunch we played with.
No, there's no such word as quiet in the bunch we play with. That's for sure. Hey, thanks for joining us today. We know it's got a busy day. We look forward to the Pinckneyville shootout. I'll be over there later this afternoon taking some games, and look forward to seeing you, and good luck today with all this work you got ahead of you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Sandy. Anytime.
All right, Todd Rushing, the athletic director of Pinckneyville High School. Of course, today a huge, and we do mean huge, shootout at Pinckneyville High School today. Games everywhere in the auxiliary gym and also at Dusty Thomas Gymnasium, where there are tons and tons of games going on as far as basketball is concerned. $8, and you can walk in between both gyms, the Dusty Thomas and the auxiliary gym, at your free will to see what games you want to watch. You can't beat it. And then if you go there later and you only want to watch the last couple, it's only going to cost you $5 for 2 games. That's not a bad deal. You got to go check it out. Pinckneyville shootout today. Dusty Thomas Gym, the auxiliary gym, and, of course, the JV games over at St. Bruno Grade School. We're at the bottom of the second hour. We got to pause. We got to take a break. When we come back on the other side, Goreville Black Cats head basketball coach Todd Tripp will join us. His team leading, or almost leading, the Western Division of the Black Diamond Conference and rolling along this season in high school basketball. Your Saturday Sports Show brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital. It's what healthcare should be. Back for more here on WMIX.
When an emergency happens, time is everything, and you don't want to spend that time in a waiting room. So choose Crossroads Community Hospital. With our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge, the entire team is committed to working diligently to have you initially seen by a physician, physician assistant, or nurse practitioner within 30 minutes of your arrival. When minutes matter, choose the ER that doesn't waste time. Choose Crossroads Community Hospital. Visit crossroadscommunityhospital.com/faster to learn more. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, call 911.
State Farm, this is Jessica.
Hey, Jessica, Jerry Newman. Does State Farm offer more discounts to more drivers?
Yep, like the good driver discount.
So it's for good, but not great drivers.
No, Jerry. There's also the multi-line discount.
For calling from multiple lines while driving.
You should never use a phone while driving.
I only make calls from my car when I'm stuck in a ditch or something.
Are you in a ditch?
Yes, I am.
State Farm offers more discounts to more drivers than any other insurance company. Get to a better state.
One more reason to call State Farm agent Tony Wilton Mount Vernon at 242-1421.
Have you ever been traveling out of town and realized you needed cash? Using another bank's ATM can cost you a few extra dollars in fees to get the cash you need. Not anymore. People's National Bank introduces MoneyPass. MoneyPass allows you to use over 23,000 additional ATMs in the United States without paying any fees. Stop by People's National Bank. Visit peoplesnationalbank.com or moneypass.com to find out more information.
People's National Bank, serving Southern Illinois since 1909. Member FDIC.
Saturday Sports Show on WMIX. Danny Zerwinski here in studio. Jeff Crow pushing the buttons. As we roll along here in the last half of the second hour, we are joined now by the head basketball coach of the Goreville Black Cats, Todd Tripp. Coach Tripp, I know you got to be feeling pretty good this morning. Another win for you last night.
Yeah, we anytime you get a W, you feel good the next day, and you can open up the paper and check everybody else's scores out and feel good about yourself. So.
I got to ask, feeling good about yourself, how are things in the Tripp household changed in the past week?
We're doing good. Baby's doing good, and everything's rolling right along, and a little different when you add another one to the family. It changes things a little bit, but just got to make do and change your routine a little bit.
Big sis okay with the new addition?
She loves her. Yeah, she's a good big sister. So.
Well, that's good. How much is Uncle Sean going to have an influence on this one?
I guarantee he won't change a diaper. He will be involved in everything else.
He doesn't get his hands dirty, does he?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
We know, hey, your team now leads the Black Diamond Conference. I think like this. When I look at the teams in the schedule, Goreville, your team's 15-3, has got to be the quietest team of 15-3 that I've seen in a while. Is that what you like, sneaking around and trying to lay in the weeds until it's time to go?
You know, that's fine. Somebody sent me a text the other day and said you guys are back in the top 10 of the AP, which, you know, it's nice, but, you know, we really don't care about that. And, you know, if there's other teams that along the way that we may have to get through in the postseason that are above us in the AP, that's fine with us. We kind of like being the underdogs, and people can talk about everybody else and kind of leave us alone. That'd be okay with us.
Speaking of being okay, you've had a good run. You started your own tournament this year, won that, and then you got second at Sesser-Valier. Then you won West Frankfort tournament, a lot different teams, more teams to play that you don't normally see. How big was that for your team last week to win a tournament like that with some bigger schools involved?
It's, you know, very nice to go to a place like West Frankfort and have the tradition of their tournament they have, and be able to win that. That's good for our school, good for our community. You know, every year we try to maybe add or whatever to our schedule just to make it a little different, and we felt like our schedule this year was really good for our ball team, and, you know, felt like in the Frankfort tournament we played well. We played well overall, and, you know, since the Woodlawn game at Sesser, I feel like we've been more consistent. I feel like we learned a lot from that game, and it's really nice to see as a coach when you have some kids, when they do get beat, they learn from it and try to get better.
Your team, to me, when they get going on a roll and play real aggressive, your team is going to be hard to defend. Looking at your schedule, the oddity is you have not played Chester yet. They're undefeated like you are in the BDC West. Is that just a perk in the schedule since you guys have joined the Black Diamond Conference?
Yeah, you know, it sets up for something good. You know, we got Chester coming up here the 29th after Pinckneyville shootout. So, you know, both teams are undefeated in the conference, and I know they're a very good squad. I've seen them play a couple of times, and they have a lot of weapons also. And you know, probably the good thing for us, you know, I hope is we have them at our place the first time, so maybe we can take advantage of that.
Speaking of that, taking advantage, one of the things you guys did at Goreville, you got out of the SEC, you played there, you coached in that conference, you got out and joined the Black Diamond. How has that helped not only your program, but all the programs at Goreville High School athletically?
Well, it gives the kids a lot more opportunities, I believe, in our conference. You know, we have kids in cross country, kids in golf, kids in track, so they get the opportunity to be an all-conference performer in those sports. And, you know, probably top to bottom, you know, in the Black Diamonds, it's played better teams from top to bottom year in and year out. You know, so that makes it a little better as far as the toughness of the schedule. But we've really enjoyed, you know, getting in the Black Diamond, and it's easy to say that when you come in basketball and boys and girls and win it your first year. That makes it nice.
Well, it does make it nice. You get to pick on people and beat them left and right like you guys normally do. But do you miss the conference tournament at all that you had to deal with, or are you happier knowing that you can go out and kind of be more in control of your schedule as far as who you play?
I like being able to go somewhere else. I thought that was a perk when we were looking into things. And, you know, like I said before, getting a chance to go in a tradition-rich West Frankfort tournament, that was special for us.
Speaking of that, the basketball gurus have definitely, I think, helped your team out. You've gotten away from Gallatin County, you've gotten away from Meridian, and now you've been moved to the ZR Regional. Was that kind of a relief to kind of get away from a couple of foes until you have to maybe play them in the sectional?
Yeah, you know, maybe seeing them later. Yeah, I mean, I can't say we don't like that, but
right.
You know, we still have to go to Ziegler and play Ziegler, who put up 66 points against us last night, or 69 points against us last night. And I know how much better they are at home. So, you know, it's not something we're just going to give to us, but it's different teams we're going to see now this year in the regional, but it's still going to be a tough task.
It does make for an interesting sectional at Hardin County if the right teams get in, because this could be one of the loaded 1A sectionals in the state if the right teams get in, couldn't it?
Oh, yeah. You know, like I referred to before, you're looking at AP top 10. I mean, it has a chance to get 3 of the top 10 in one sectional, so that would be interesting.
It would be interesting. And speaking of being interesting, we know you got a busy day. You got a game today at the Pinckneyville shootout. Tell our listeners who you're playing today at Pinckneyville.
Play Eastern Lanark, which, talking to the kids last night, it's kind of interesting. We're 30 minutes from Kentucky line here, and they're about 30 minutes from Wisconsin line up there. So, two different ends of the state, and it gives a chance for people in the state to compare a little bit, I guess you could say. And they were there last night watching us play last night, and we've seen them a little bit on tape. So they're a nice ball club. They're athletic. They have a point guard that's really, really athletic, and he can do a lot of things. So we've got a tour today.
And that's a school, I believe, had been in the state tournament in recent years. Lanark Eastland? Yeah.
Yeah, not only that, we played them in baseball our first year. Our first trip in baseball, we played them up there. So that's kind of interesting, that, too.
Isn't that kind of interesting how that works? I know that at Goreville had to play, when they played in the state title game, played a team they play every year when they come down south. It's kind of a small world when stuff works out like that in athletics, isn't it?
Yeah, you never heard of them before, and all of a sudden now they pop up and you play them again in different sports. So.
All right, I got a good question for you. It's our WMIX Sports social media question of the week. If you could play one sport as a professional, make a career out of it, what would it be?
I would definitely be golf.
Really? I was thinking, I thought either that, I thought baseball would be your pick.
No, because I think golf can just keep playing forever, so when you're 65, you can still play, so that'd be well worth it.
I know a lot of people are going that way. That longevity and that money that those guys make is what everybody's kind of leading to this morning.
I play a little college baseball, and every now and then I can still feel it in my arm as a pitcher, so I think the golf would be much better for me.
Yeah, it probably would be. I mean, I like golf, too. It's always fun to play. Teacher, coaches, we got to do what we got to do, don't we?
That's right.
Hey, Coach, good luck the rest of the way. I hope you have a good day. We're going to try to get over there and catch your game this afternoon, maybe a little bit of it against Lanark. But good luck the rest of the season. We hope to have you on very soon again.
All right, Danny. Thanks, bud. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Todd Tripp, the head coach of the Goreville boys basketball team, as they are in the Black Diamond Conference West in first place, tied with Chester. They'll play today at the Pinckneyville Shootout 3 p.m. against Lanark Eastland, a team that those of you might remember was at state tournament just a few years back at Peoria, and that is an interesting matchup, one of the many at the Pinckneyville Shootout today. We need to take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up the final segment. We'll do some score updates, talk about the schedule events today. We'll give you an update of postseason. 3A, 4A girls regional pairings came out yesterday, dates, times, and whatever came out. The Mount Vernon Lady Rams, of course, our number one seed. We'll go over that. We'll go over all kinds of things as we wrap up the final segment on the Saturday Sports Show, brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital. It's what healthcare should be. A potpourri of things coming up after the break here on WMIX.
Southern Illinois now has a better home for sports. It's the all-new WMIXSports.com. Jam-packed with local scores, video highlights, and archives of every local sports broadcast on WMIX. Did your team win? Missed that game-winning shot last night? Didn't catch your favorite coach on the Saturday Sports Show? WMIXSports.com is right at your fingertips. On your computer, your smartphone, your tablet, or your video game console. It's the all-new WMIXSports.com. Another free service from Withers Broadcasting.
Learn to live healthy, learn to live well, and learn how you can live free from unexpected medical expense with a major medical expense policy from Pekin Insurance and the Page Agency. Health insurance that covers hospital, medical, and surgical expenses offers a wide choice of deductibles and a non-tobacco user discount, too. Rising medical costs don't have to be a problem with a major medical expense policy from Pekin Insurance. This is coverage we hope you'll never need, but you just can't be without. Call the Page Agency at 242-7000 about a major medical health insurance plan today.
When an emergency happens, time is everything, and you don't want to spend that time in a waiting room. So choose Crossroads Community Hospital with our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge. The entire team is committed to working diligently to have you initially seen by a physician, physician assistant, or nurse practitioner within 30 minutes of your arrival. When minutes matter, choose the ER that doesn't waste time. Choose Crossroads Community Hospital. Visit crossroadscommunityhospital.com/faster to learn more. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, call 911.
Oh, the final segment, I believe. Yeah, final segment. We've done all our breaks. We're supposed to, paid our bills. Denny Zerwinski here on the final segment of the Saturday Sports Show. Chris Hugo, Mike Richardson away on assignment. Jeff Crow in studio. And Before we go any further, let's give you another scoreboard update. The scores last night from around the area in the South 7. Centralia over Mount Vernon 49-36. Cahokia over Carbondale 89-60. Altoff beat Marion 56-49. Altoff comes to Mount Vernon next Friday night. Jerseyville comes to Mount Vernon next Saturday night. Midland Trail, Wayne City 54, West Richland 39. Waltville over Clay City 54-35. North Clay over Grayville 81-43. Odin over Sandova 56-51. Woodlawn gets a non-conference road win at Carmel last night 66-40. Congratulations to Gabe Owens of Woodlawn High School. He hit 10 threes last night in that win at Carmel, and thus breaking the single-game record for threes in the game by John Koppel. John Koppel had 9, Gabe now with 10. Congratulations to Gabe Owens for that achievement. River to River Ohio Division last night. Harrisburg beat Murphy 59-49. Massac over West Frankfort 75-39. And Heron beat Benton at home 73-47. It was an overtime and upset special on the Mississippi side. Pinckneyville beat Carterville in overtime at home 54-52. DuQuoin beat Anna 57-51 in overtime. And Sparta goes on the road and wins at Nashville 60-50. Black Diamond, Christopher beat Alvarado 61-28. Tricle over Sesser-Valier 54-50. Hamilton County over El Dorado 75-65. JC over Fairfield 60-51. Goreville over ZR 77-69. For all the rest of the scores, you can go to WMIXsports.com, click on the Scores tab, and it'll roll out to you by date, by conference, by tournament, by the regular season, by non-conference, all organized in one nice, neat little tab for you to look at. And we may read more later as this last segment rolls along. Don't forget, all kinds of basketball going on around the area today. We've mentioned in Pub the Pinckneyville Shootout. The schedule and everything located for games in Southern Illinois today at Facebook.com/WMIX Sports. We'd also, while you're there, like us as well as we are on the social media. You can also follow us on Twitter at WMIX Sports. We communicate and talk with people all the time via that way with scores and talk and sports questions and things like that. Speaking of sports questions, our WMIX Sports social media question of the week is posted now at Facebook.com. Has been up there for a while. We've got several people already chiming in on it right now as we look. As the WMIX Sports social media, the question of the week is, if you could play one sport as a professional, what would it be? We've had everything from, obviously, golf was a favorite of some of the coaches. We've had poker. Baseball was favorite. We've also had dodgeball mentioned. We've also had playing baseball for the Cardinals, playing football for the Cowboys. We've had baseball. I've thrown up there some choices of golf and baseball, the obvious. NASCAR would be something I'd like. And then, of course, another one that was thrown up by me and one other person, I can't believe somebody else thought of this, is curling. The Winter Olympic sport of curling. I'm sorry, I just enjoy that. I know I've got another year till curling is back in the spotlight on the Olympics. There's something about curling that draws you in, and that's something I'd like to try one of these days. Don't know if I can, obviously can't make a career out of it, but curling would be an interesting thing. So go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/WMIX Sports, and put your answer to what sport would you do as a professional, make money, make a career out of. Jeff Crow, are you talking today? You got an idea on what you would make a career out of? Got an idea? Here you go.
I was thinking curling, but on the same instance, tell you what, I always wanted to be a professional bowler.
I wonder why, because you have a 300 game. Yes, I do. So when you're looking, and we got to put the mic over here. We got to share this thing. I got to ask this because, see, I've done a little bowling, not much. I do a little summer junk league or whatever, but I'm definitely not a bowler. I just try to do what I can do, listen to people around me to coach me, like my sister. When you're getting that groove of rolling a 300 game, is there anything going through your mind? Do you want to talk to anybody? What goes through? Because you've done a 300 game before.
Basically, it works out that the guys that's on your team sit around and they try not to bring it up. We talk about other things, but in the back of your mind, you know that when you get up to the 5th or 6th strike, okay, that's okay. When you get to 7th or 8th, it's like, okay, I'm getting a lot closer, and that's whenever things start tightening it up a little bit. And but when you get in that 10th frame, when you know you have to roll those 3 and there's no break in between, that's whenever it's really a struggle. So it's mainly a lot of help with the guys, change the subject, talk about other things. But like I said, it's always in the back of your mind that it could be a possibility. And, they always see somebody getting the 11 strikes, getting up to that 12th strike, and leaving a single pin. And that's the other thing that's in the back of your mind.
Mr. Jeff Crow. Bowling is it. We put his answer there on Facebook.com/WMIX Sports. We also had one mention bowling just now. A listener, a viewer, a Facebook follower, liker. Table tennis and pole vaulting's been added there as well. Don't know how long that pole vaulting career lasts. That could lead to some injuries down the road, as they say. But that's on Facebook.com/WMIX Sports. Go there. Put your answer to our social media question. You can also like us while you're there as well. It's a big day in sports. We got a basketball schedule posted there as well. It's a big day here at WMIX. We are also going to talk about the upcoming game today, which is the Mount Vernon Lady Rams hosting Mattoon. That was a game last year that Mount Vernon won in an afternoon and made that long trip to Mattoon and got a good win. It was a struggle early on in the first half. Pretty close game, but then the Lady Rams were able to pull away. And with it being the third game in a week, 6 games in 2 weeks, the Lady Rams maybe hoping that they got a little bit of energy left in a gas tank. But they did get a big win on Thursday night at Altoff, a 43-41 win. They clinch a share of the South 7 Conference Championship. If they win one more South 7 Conference game, whether it's against St. Marion, Centralia, or Cahokia, it's a winner. And Mount Vernon will be an outright conference champ of the South 7 for girls and Jeff Lonnon. They currently stand 7-0. As we said, they'll host Mattoon this afternoon at Chagnon Gymnasium. That game you can listen to it on WMIX 94.1 FM, or you can watch it at WMIXsports.com. Of course, smartphones, game console, everything is very easily to find the website, click on and listen or watch Mount Vernon Athletics here at WMIXsports.com. The Mount Vernon Lady Rams, speaking of them, seedings and pairings came out this week for the Class 3A, 4A regionals in girls basketball. The Mount Vernon Lady Rams are the number 1 seed at the Heron Regional, and they will open up play on Tuesday, February 12th at 6 p.m. They will play the winner of the Heron and Marion game from Monday night at 6 o'clock on that Tuesday at Heron. So Mount Vernon will play the winner of Heron and Marion. Right now, Mount Vernon enjoys a close win at home over Heron and a big win at Marion on the road. So they have beaten those teams each. Of course, Mount Vernon will play Marion one more time here this season. And then, of course, this other game in that regional on that Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, Massac County versus Carbondale. And then the championship will be on Valentine's Day, February 14th, on a Thursday at 7:30 p.m. at Heron High School. The other regionals that will feed into that Waterloo sectional, the Centralia High School regional has some very top teams as well. Number 1 in that regional is Mater Dei. It's also a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday game. Mater Dei will play the winner of Centralia and Salem on that Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Of course, Centralia Salem will play on the 11th at 7:30. And then on Tuesday night, the second game will be Effingham versus Olney, and the winners to play on Thursday the 14th at 7:30 in a championship game. Other regionals that feed in that Waterloo sectional at Bethalto. Number 1, Bethalto will play the winner of Jerseyville and Triad, also on a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Second game that night will be Highland and East St. Louis, and those winners will play on Thursday in the championship game. The Columbia Regional on that week, Class 3A, also on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Columbia is the number 1 seed. They will play the winner of Waterloo and Cahokia in a Monday 6 o'clock game on the 11th of February. Altoff is a 3 seed. They will play Freeburg at 8 p.m. on a Monday, and then that winner will play Mascoutah. So on Tuesday night at 6 p.m. on the 12th at Columbia, it'll be Columbia versus the winner of Waterloo and Cahokia. And on Tuesday at 8 p.m., it'll be Mascoutah versus the winner of Altoff and Freeburg. And those winners will play on Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. All those feed into the Waterloo sectional. The team that Mount Vernon plays today, Mattoon, is hosting a regional. Of course, their regional will feed into the Mount Zion sectional. And then the Mount Zion and Waterloo sectionals will feed into the University of Illinois at Springfield super sectional. Mattoon is a 2 seed in the Mattoon regional behind Taylorville. So Mattoon comes in as a 2 seed, so you can see the stiff competition that Mattoon will bring out of the Apollo Conference here into Mount Vernon High School this afternoon. It'll be a tough game. Mount Vernon playing their 6th game in a week with the 3 games at the Carbondale tournament. Highland and Althoff Tuesday, Thursday, and, of course, today at home against Mattoon. You can listen to that on WMIX 94.1 FM or watch it live at WMIXsports.com. It's a busy week once again next week here at WMIX Sports. We have several games on the agenda. Monday night, we'll be at Sesser-Valier as the SVW Lady Devils take on Goreville in a matchup of teams from the Black Diamond West. Goreville won the first matchup this year. Battle of teams, and that'll be a good one. That'll be on FM 94.1 WMIX with pregame around 7:15 or so. Tuesday night on the AM side, it'll be Mount Vernon Lady Rams at Centralia. Pregame will start there around 7:15. I will be in Woodlawn on Tuesday night as the Woodlawn Cardinals host the Sesser-Valier Red Devils in a game that'll be on the FM 94.1. Pregame about 7:20, 7:25. And, of course, opening tip around 7:30 or so. Thursday night, the 31st, the Mount Vernon Lady Rams will host Marion. That game on FM. You can watch it on WMIXsports.com as pregame starts about 7:15, 7:20, going from there. Then on the weekend, the Rams are at home Friday night against Althoff, Saturday night against Jerseyville. The Althoff game's a 6:15 JV start. So you can watch that game, and watch that game at WMIXsports.com, or you can listen to it on WMIX 94.1 as the Rams host Althoff on Friday night. And that game pregame will be around 7:20, 7:25. On Saturday night, Jerseyville's at home, and I believe that's a 5 o'clock JV start at home. It's also senior night going to be that night, even though there's one more home game left. Coach Scott Gamber mentioning that due to the fact that the Hall of Fame ceremonies are the next weekend, or the weekend of the Marion home game, they're going to do senior night on next Saturday night with Jerseyville. JV game, I believe, starts at 5. And, of course, with that starting at 5, the pregame for the varsity will start about 6:25 or 6:30 or so in that early start with Jerseyville having to make that long trek down from Jerseyville to Mount Vernon. And what has been a good pickup for the Mount Vernon Rams this year on their schedule. So next weekend, the Rams at home against Althoff and Jerseyville. And after that, you only have one more chance to catch a Mount Vernon Rams home game. That'll be the weekend of the Hall of Fame ceremonies when the Marion Wildcats come to town to Chagnon Gymnasium. We want to thank all of our guests this morning on the Saturday Sports Show. We were appreciative that they were able to take time out of a very busy day. Of course, Scott Gamber, the coach of the Mount Vernon Rams, Jeff Lonnon, coach of the Mount Vernon Lady Rams, the executive director of the IHSA, Greg Hale, joined us to talk about the tournament, the state tournaments going on at Rend Lake College over the next few weeks with boys and girls junior high basketball. And speaking of that, I mean, that's one of those deals there where if you want some atmosphere and you want some noise, nothing says atmosphere and loud noise like being at Rend Lake College with a bunch of junior high kids that roll in on a bus, been riding on a bus to come in and scream and yell for their teams. It's really an amazing atmosphere no matter if the girls are playing or the boys are playing. It is a great atmosphere at Rend Lake College. That place gets loud like no other probably around in Southern Illinois. It's a great atmosphere for the state tournaments in junior high. Also joining us today, we appreciate Bob Bowser, the voice of Mount Carmel Athletics, on our sister station, WYNG 94.9 FM, out of Mount Carmel. We appreciate him joining us. He, of course, does Mount Carmel Athletics there, of course, football, and, of course, Tyra Buss, who has scored over 3,000 points since she's only a junior. Of course, the Mount Carmel boys basketball team playing today at the Pinckneyville shootout against Okawville. That should be an interesting matchup for both teams as they don't get to see each other playing during the season. Also joining us today, IHSA basketball clinician Aaron Wright, who joined us today. And that was such a great conversation talking about officiating and everything else in general. We could talk for a few more minutes probably what we did about situations and whatnot, but thank you to Aaron Wright for joining us and explaining to us the side from the officials' view, through the eyes of them, what they see, deal with, call, and have to deal with on a day-in, day-out basis as far as the games they do, the miles they drive, and the miles they run during a season of basketball. Also joining us, Todd Rushing, the head coach of the Pinckneyville football Panthers, also the AD at Pinckneyville High School. Of course, he is one of the many people in charge of that huge Pinckneyville shootout going on today. And, of course, Todd Tripp, the head coach of the Goreville Black Cats, his team leading or tied for the lead in the Black Diamond East, or Western Division, I should say, with Chester. They play today over at the Pinckneyville shootout against Lanark Eastland. A very good matchup for Goreville today as well in that one. The last weekend of January, IHSA stuff going on all around the state. This weekend's cheerleading sectional championships going on. That's going on. Dance competition. First one the IHSA's put on going on this weekend statewide. So the state dance meet going on. And, of course, over in the Metro East area, the O'Fallon, Fairview Heights area, is the IHSA State Bowling Tournament. We want to wish all those teams and individuals from around Southern Illinois that are over in the Metro East area participating in that state bowling tournament. Best of luck. And, congratulations on the outstanding season to get that far, and best of luck today as they try to bring some hardware back to the Southern Illinois as far as that state bowling goes. Up this week, on Thursday, the seeds will come out for 1A, 2A boys basketball. We'll know the seeds on Thursday evening, late Thursday afternoon, early Thursday evening. And on Friday, and that's usually a time anywhere between 3 and 6 in the afternoon, we will know the pairings, dates, and times and who's going to play each other as far as Class 1A and 2A boys basketball is concerned. That's always an eventful Friday when that's going on. A lot of people sitting on their computers and smartphones and whatnot hitting refresh to find out where everybody's going to go. And then, of course, a week from Thursday, 3A, 4A boys basketball seeds come out. And, of course, on that Friday, week from Friday is 3A, 4A dates, times, and pairings will come out from the IHSA. A very exciting time the next couple of weeks on Thursday and Friday for everybody that's a basketball fan, especially a high school basketball fan. Final minute of the show. It's been a quick 2 hours. It's blown by here this morning as we get ready to go for Lady Rams basketball at home today against Mattoon. We'll get a day off tomorrow. Big week of basketball at WMIX Sports. You can check out the schedule either on Twitter at WMIX Sports or find out the schedule at WMIXsports.com or Facebook.com/WMIXsports. We update the schedule daily for all those who want to know where we're going to be at. And, of course, we love bringing games with you. Only a couple more weeks left in girls basketball, 1A, 2A, and 3A, 4A. Boys basketball winding down as well as this basketball season. We head into February. Next time we talk to you in a Saturday Sports Show, it will be February. That's how close February is to us all here. For everyone here, for Jeff Crow, for Reese Barnfield, I'm Denny Zerwinski. Thank you for listening to Saturday Sports Show. Join us again next week. Thanks for listening. NBC News starts now.